Well, hang on, don't go live because you just messed up. Give me a sec, guys. These people. Okay, that's good. This is not good. All right. Okay. So, Ronnie, we're good on Facebook. All right. Okay, cool. So, today's issue is not about Bruce Lee. It's about people that some of you may never even have heard about. But these are people who may have helped shape the man who helped to shape the art. So we're talking about Hank Slomanski, Amos Alonzo Stagg, Bob Ward. Because if you know anything about Dan Inosanto, then you know that his journey wasn't one dimensional. And yet, for decades, many people only wanted to hear one name. Hello, everyone. This is Dwight Woods, the Jeet Kune Do Rebel. Welcome to the I Love Jeet Kune Do broadcast number 376. This is the one about honoring the thinkers behind the teacher being Dan Inosanto. So Slomanski, Stagg, and Ward. As you're logging in, if you'd be kind enough to say where you're logging in from, hit the like button and feel free to continue doing so throughout the broadcast. If you're catching the simulcast over on the YouTube, and it does not look like anybody is live on the YouTube, um, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit notification bell as well. But of course, the best thing you can do is to share this video and spread the word about the I Love Jeet Kune Do broadcast. Okay, so before we get going, happy birthday to Ryan Chafin, who is live here with us. I still owe you a phone call. I have not forgotten. I just got to get all this stuff done, and then I'll give you a call, Ryan. All right. Um, I've spoken to Sifu Dan many, many times over the years, and some of you might know. Last week, Ron Reagan and I were in LA, and we had the opportunity to go out and talk with him. And so, Sifu Dan has always been gracious, and I realized during this last conversation that it must have been a little bit disconcerting, maybe even a little bit uncomfortable, that when it came to martial art, so many people wanted him to speak only about Bruce Lee, almost as if there was not anyone else who had ever influenced him, almost as if Inosanto's knowledge, his growth, his evolution began and ended with Bruce Lee. Now, we got to be clear about this. Dan Inosanto has never said this to me, but after decades of knowing him and hanging out, I think I have learned to listen between the lines, right? So, for those of you who know these stories, just bear with me. This is for people who might not be as familiar. And if you want to be familiar, I know he talks about some of them in the Jeet Kune Do book, and the other book where you could hear about some of them is Absorb What Is Useful, right? But before Bruce Lee crossed Dan Inosanto's path, Inosanto crossed path with Henry Hammer and Hank. Apparently, is his nickname, right? Slomanski, who was a decorated um, Army Command Sergeant Major. He was a Purple Heart recipient, and he was a Chitoryu karate champion. So Slomanski had been stationed in Japan after World War II, and that's where he trained under Chitose, who was the founder of Chitoryu. And Slomanski was crowned karate champion of Japan, right, in 1953. And then he would later become the International Commissioner of Karate in the United States. but he wasn't a martial arts celebrity. He was kind of like a combat hardened technician, right? He trained the Rangers, he trained Green Berets, he trained the SEALs, and he even trained Elvis Presley, apparently, right? Presley earned his black belt under Slomanski, and supposedly Slomanski told Ed Parker that that Presley isn't pretty, but he's tough, something like that, right? Now, I'm not sure. A guy like Tim Becker would know better than I would how extensive Sifu dance training with Slomanski may have been. But from what I do recall, at Fort Campbell in Kentucky, that's where he became impressed with Slomanski because apparently Slomanski could take on anybody, right? So anyhow, um, the idea of like real combat and military precision and physical philosophy, right? I think that is the kind of foundation that gave Inosanto a unique filter through which he later understood things that people, including Bruce Lee, might have shared with him. The other person that you hear Sifu Dan talk about extensively is Amos Alonzo Stagg. Um, so this is a non-martial art influence, and but again appears to me to have been one of the most formative relationships that Inosanto might have had, because Stagg is a coach who changed not if I have it correctly, not just football, because his innovations, and I suggest if you haven't, go to his Wikipedia page, and I think they have the whole list of his innovations. But he wasn't just a coach; he was like an architect, right, of modern sports. So the tackling dummy apparently is a Stagg innovation. The huddle, the lateral pass, the man in motion, the use of uniform numbers. I'm not sure if the use of names also, right? Apparently, there's a play called the Statue of Liberty, which is his. And then in baseball, the batting cage apparently is another one of the many innovations of Stagg. So these weren't gimmicks. These are actual like training systems, right? These are structures that are designed to develop adaptability and decision making, mental clarity, and all that kind of stuff. And I think Inosanto absorbed these lessons as a young athlete. Next time I see him, I'll try to get some more specific details, because apparently the first time Stagg saw him, he thought Inosanto was too small. And then I think somebody said, yeah, but you got to see him run or something like that, right? But anyhow, what I'm talking about is that Inosanto absorbed these lessons as a young athlete long before Jeet Kune Do entered his life, right? So I would say that one of the things that my interpretation of some of the things that he learned from Stagg would be that like coaching, like even teaching, it wasn't about performance, it was about process, right? And I think that that's a lesson that stayed within Asano, and I think you can see it in the way that he talks about training attributes more so than training techniques, the way he talks about training individuals more so than training systems or what have you. Okay. All right. So now we fast forward to the 1970s, and in the Jeet Kune Do book, you see a picture with Dr. Bob Ward in it, and it says he's the conditioning coach for the Dallas Cowboys. But apparently, um, Ward's brother, or even two brothers, I can't remember for sure, but Sifudan knew all the Ward brothers, right, and was roommates with at least one of them or whatever. Anyhow, my point is that Bob Ward, um, this is how martial art enters the NFL, because Inosanto, Ward is a conditioning coach for the Dallas Cowboys, and he's a JKD student of Dan Inosanto's, and so he takes Inosanto to the Dallas Cowboys, and this begins, as Diana Lee Inosanto has said, Dan Inosanto opened up the door to a whole new way of approaching football, right? Because now we got flow drills and energy drills and stick fighting drills and Muay Thai and Thai pads and all this type of stuff, right? That Inosanto brings to camp, and Dr. Bob Ward kind of runs with it. Okay. So again, it wasn't just using the drills, but it was actually adapting Inosanto principles. And that is a collaboration, or a synthesis that gives rise to new paradigms in sport performance, right? I don't have the book here, but Bob Ward wrote a book about sports performance and all that. And these are the kinds of rudimentary things that are now commonplace in the highest levels of professional athletics. So here's the thread, I say, that ties Slomanski and Stagg and Ward together in the Inosanto world. They didn't just teach technique. They they taught you how to think. They taught how to train for life, not just for the particular sport or whatever, right? So in the clip where uh, Sifu Dan is being interviewed by Diana, right? He says something about jump rope, right? About skipping rope, and how, and that skipping rope, you're not going to fight like that. You're not going to use that for fighting, but it's not about the rope. It's about the rhythm and the coordination. So it's about the attribute, the fighting attribute that is developed through jump rope. And I think that that's the kind of layered insight that Inosanto got from his mentors long before it was popular to talk about things like cross training or whatever. All right. So, in honoring Sifu Dan, this is my birthday gift to him. He turns 89 tomorrow. And what I want to say is that I think if all we ever do, and if you try to condense him and constrict him to talking about just Bruce Lee, I think you're missing the whole network, right, of thinkers, fighters, teachers, all the people that helped to shape one of Bruce Lee's most trusted students, right, and one of the greatest contributors to Jeet Kune Do. And I would say that Sifu Dan did not arrive at his own genius by following one path. He arrived at his own genius by being a student of many minds and being a translator of many systems. So that's the story that I wanted to tell today, because in a way, honoring Bruce Lee, who died 3 days ago, 52 years ago, right? Honoring Bruce Lee means honoring the people who helped to shape Dan Inosanto. That's how I put it together, right? So that means honoring the thinkers behind the teacher. So this is my way of saying happy 89th birthday, Sifu Inosanto. Oh, and by the way, because I only realized this today, and I think this will resonate with people like Tim Becker and Ronnie Reagan. Okay, here's what I realized just today, like only a couple hours ago. Amos Alonzo Stagg retired from Stockton College at age 96. Okay, he was coaching up until age 96. So it got me wondering, might Dan Inosanto be following his example? Right? Okay, so you guys let me know what you think in the comments below, because that is all I am going to say in this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Follow me on Twitter at Dwight Woods and on Instagram at Dwight D. Woods. At paypal.me/unified MA Miami. PayPal.me/unified MA Miami. The Jeet Kune Do Journey Volume 1 is available. PayPal.me/unified MA Miami. If you would please go to the Facebook page for JKD Drills and like and follow over there, so that when that is up and running, you'll be among the first to be notified about it. If you have not yet done so, the I Love Jeet Kune Do broadcast has its own Facebook page now. That's at facebook.com/the I Love Jeet Kune Do broadcast, or I Love Jeet Kune Do broadcast. One of them. Anyhow, you can find it, right? So like and follow over there. Also, hang on. It always takes a while. Okay, this is the GoFundMe page for my student Wayne Quinton down in Barbados. You can help his wife pedaled in her fight against breast cancer. I was talking with Wayne just yesterday. They've done surgery, and now the radiation stuff has to start. So anything that you can contribute at that GoFundMe page is well appreciated. Um, what else? Did I tell you? Oh, the Jeet Kune Do Dialogues. So the Dialogues has its own page also, has its own YouTube channel, has its own page on Facebook. So find that and like and follow that page as well. And what else? Coming up on Friday, do I have it here? Let me see if I got a graphic for it. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so my good friend Mike Lee Kanarek, right, has a new book coming out called Tactical Jeet Kune Do, and so we're going to talk about that on Friday at 6 p.m. What Tactical Jeet Kune Do is and where it comes from and all that good stuff. So that's on the Jeet Kune Do Dialogues on Friday at 6. And I think that's all the announcements. Let me take a quick look in the comments and see if there's anything that I need to reply to. Um, Scorch says Lou Gehrig would have been a great baseball player on any team, but the Yankees perhaps brought out Gehrig's highest potential. The same can be said of Sifu Dan on Team JKD. Yeah. Inosanto would have been a great martial artist, no matter what he paid attention to. So yeah, I agree with you, Scorch. All right. Red Tiger says, as usual, right? Are you suggesting that Inosanto might have been eclectic in his learning and syncretic in his practice? Yes, Red Tiger, I am. Right. Del Mountain says Inosanto wasn't too small to punch upward into his opponent's groin. But I don't know that he ever did that, right? Okay. Um, Tim says, how I remember Guru telling it is that Stagg asked if they had a bigger back for the position, and Guru's head coach says there's a lot of power in his leg. Okay, cool. All right. Yeah. See, so like I said, Tim will have these stories more compact than I would. Bob Ward's book, Building the Perfect Star. I have his book somewhere because if Sifu Dan recommends a book, I try to pick it up and what have you. And I think that's it for today, right? Oh, okay. Um, my understand Tim says again. My understanding is that Stagg was in amazing health when he was coaching in his 90s. So whether it's a conscious thing or not, I think that's what he's doing. Right? He's doing what he loves, as did Stagg. Yeah, I really think so, Tim. And it only hit me today, but because you and I and Ronnie, we were with him a lot, so we hear him talk about, and Chip, who's here as well, we hear him talk about Stagg, but it didn't dawn on me until today, right? And I was like, oh, maybe that's what he's doing, right? Okay, all right. So that's it for me for today, which is a black and white day. There you go. Man, as I was getting up, I thought, is this a Bob Marley shirt? No, it isn't. All right, this is Dwight Woods, the Jeet Kune Do Rebel, signing off. You guys enjoy the rest of your evening, and we will talk soon. Take care now.